Welcome to Profiles in Purpose. I'm speaking with Bakari Nyamsosa. He's a primary school teacher in Tanzania. He's also the director and co-founder of an organization called Rising Hope Organization Tanzania. Thank you for joining me, Bakari.
Thanks so much, my brother, Dan Kostika.
It's great to be speaking with you. We're speaking over Zoom. I'm in Calgary. You're in Tanzania. Specifically, you're in Musoma, Tanzania. Is that correct?
Yeah. Mala Musoma in Tanzania.
Can you tell me a little bit about the city? Is it quite a big city? And it's next to Lake Victoria, is that right? The largest lake in Tanzania, am I correct?
Yeah, you are correct. Musoma is in near Lake Victoria. Lake Victoria is largest lake. And then
Mhm.
also in Musoma, we have Serengeti National Park. There are so many animals over there. There is lion, there is elephant, there is leopard, and so on.
Mm,
Yeah, something like that. So we have so many tourist attractions.
wonderful. And did you grow up in Musoma?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. I grew up in Musoma, and up to now, I'm just living in Musoma.
And as I mentioned, you're a primary school teacher as well as the director of this NGO, this charitable organization. Now, when you were a child, did you know that you were going to be a teacher someday?
Yeah, exactly. That was my dream.
Hmm.
I had a dream to become a teacher when I was young. I thank God today I'm a teacher. That was my dream to become a teacher.
What was it about teaching that made you want to be one? Did you have teachers that made a big difference for you?
Yeah. I lived with some who were teachers. I had my friends who were teachers. So through them, I said one day also I became a teacher.
How many students do you have in your school?
Our school has got more than 1,400 students.
Wow. I've seen photos of you with your students, and I believe in your particular classroom you have about 200 students, is that right?
No, in my class,
Hmm.
I have 160
Oh, what,
students.
what's that like? Because here in Canada, it's more typical, maybe 25 or 30 students in a classroom, and even that's considered quite challenging. What is it like to have 160 students in one room with you?
Many African countries, especially in schools, secondary or primary school, there are so many big number of the students in a class. So you may find that one class has got 160, one class has got 110 students in the single room. So in Africa, we have a big number of the students in the class to
Mm.
compare with Europe countries, to
Hmm.
compare with American countries, something like that one.
It must take a lot of energy every day.
Yeah, exactly. For the case of teaching, it became difficult. Class management will be difficult because the big number of the students in the class. To
Mm.
manage the 100 and something students in the class, it is very, very difficult. But we teach, that is our professional.
Hmm. It sounds to me like with the amount of energy it takes and the many challenges involved, it's not just a job, it would seem to me, because it's not like you do it to get rich. You don't do it for an easy job, and short hours. You do it because it means something to you, right? Is that right? Is that true, not just for you, but of your colleagues? Do you think most of them are there because it's more than just a job to them?
Yeah, exactly. We do because it's just the job. I told you that that was my dream to become a teacher. So now
Hmm.
we teach, we use a lot of energy because the big number of the students in the class.
Hmm. And can you tell me a bit about the students? Like, what are some of the challenges? I've known you for a few months, so I have a bit of a background. Listeners might not realize that, and so I know a bit about your school and your students. Can you tell me a bit about some of the challenges your students face?
There are so many challenges from the students are just facing because many of the students they don't have proper school uniform,
Hmm.
and many of the students they are just coming from poor family. Other students are orphan, other students are vulnerable children. So they are coming from different families. They said that many of them, they are just coming from poor family. So you may find that the student has no books in, the student has no exercise books, the student has no shoes, the student has no even pen for writing. They are just facing so many problems.
Hmm. You mentioned that many of them are orphans. Can you help me understand, because here in Canada, there we have orphans, but not like the numbers you have. What are some of the reasons? Like, why would children not have their birth parents at home?
You may find that there are some reasons for many of the students, they don't have the parents at home. Others, they live in a single family. You may find that maybe their father, they have gone far away for searching for struggle for the case of life. And then here at home, the children are just living with their grandmother. And then we find that their mother also, they are just going far away for the case of the struggling for their life. So that is the problem is. And then divorce is there is one of the factors, and it's something like that one. That
Hmm.
is the factor which causes many students to be vulnerable children as well as orphan children.
And how about disease? What role does disease play? Do many of your students have are they struggling with this different conditions?
For the case of disease, you mean disease? You mean what about disease?
Well, are there what are the big health concerns in Tanzania, especially for young children? Are there certain conditions that are a problem?
For the case of health in Tanzania, if they are faced with disease, they go to the hospital, they get treatment over there.
Is the healthcare system then fairly good then?
Yeah, the healthcare system is very good.
Oh, good. Before we talk about what your organization does, take me back to the beginning, please. It was about 3 years ago, is that correct, that you started Rising Hope?
Yeah, exactly. It was 2021.
2021. And you were the co-founder, correct? So what first gave you the idea? What need did you want to address with this organization, Rising Hope?
First of all, as I told you that I'm a teacher, so through students, there are so many student need at the school. Many of them, they don't have proper school uniform. Many of them, they don't have, they fail eventuality. They don't have exercise book. They don't have pens. They don't have shoes. When I ask them, why you don't like? They said, oh, sir, we don't have exercise book.
Mm,
I help them some exercise book. Why you don't have the school proper uniform? They tell you that we don't have the fathers, we don't have the mothers, so I just help them the school uniform. Why don't have shoes? They tell you that I live with my grandmother, so they cannot afford to buy me shoes. So I help them some shoes. And then I think I should start something known as organization
mm.
so that other people can contribute, other people can help these orphan and vulnerable children so that they can get better education like other children.
What are some things you've been able to do since then for the kids with the Rising Hope?
To give them, as I say, to give them the school uniform, to give them exercise book, shoes, pen, something like that.
Yes, and I know recently you were able to donate sanitary pads to not just students at your school, but also at some other schools, thanks to donations. And I am involved in that. I'll mention to the listeners, of course, that since I've gotten to know you in the last few months, I've donated some books to you because I'm also a book publisher and I've raised some funds for you. Tell me, please, why do the students need the sanitary pads and why is it hard for them to access them?
The students need sanitary pads because they don't have the money to buy sanitary pads, and their mother to give them some money to buy a sanitary pad is very difficult. Instead
Mhm.
of giving them the money for sanitary pad, why don't they to buy some food for their children? So the father or the mother to give her daughter the money to buy sanitary pad, it is very difficult. They think that why sanitary pad and not the food for the children?
That food is more
Yeah,
important.
food is just the priority more than sanitary pad. So you may find that the student they don't have sanitary pads. They use a piece of roses to protect themselves during menstruation cycle. So I decided, why not help these female students sanitary pads so that they can be safe during menstruation period, so that they can study very well. Because many students during their menstruation cycle, they don't attend at the school.
Mm.
They stay at home for 3 or 5 days. So I said, so let me help them sanitary pad so that they can attend at the school,
Yes.
especially in rural area. There is no access of sanitary pads.
Yeah, in the rural areas, right? In the smaller villages and
Yeah,
so on.
yes.
There's
I've been receiving many calls from rural area, primary and secondary school in rural area. They ask me, when will you come to help us sanitary pads because you are in need? Because in rural area, there is no access of sanitary pads, secondary and primary students.
when you distribute them to the students, I've seen photos that you have on your website and on Facebook. They seem very grateful to receive it. I have to say, like in Canada, maybe I think students would be like shy or embarrassed to receive something like that, but maybe there the perspective is different, that they recognize that this is something that they should be grateful for, not take for granted.
Yeah, exactly. And when we give them sanitary pads, they are very happy because we help them.
Hmm.
They appreciate what we are doing for them
Mm.
because it's something which they need. So when you give someone something which he or she is needy, so he must be very grateful.
Hmm. And can you tell me
Yeah.
more about like what are some things you hope to do in the future with Rising Hope? What other needs do you think you could meet in the future if you get more support?
Another thing for the Rising Up organization is just to establish the center for reading. Children will be reading various books. The children will learn how to use computers.
Mm.
So I want to establish the center for the children so that they can learn how to use computers. Because here in Tanzania or in many African countries, you may find that many children, they don't know how to use computers. For the case of laptop here in Tanzania, you may get laptop for 600,000 Tanzania shillings.
Hmm. Yeah, that's 4 or 500 Canadian, I believe. If people wanted to help your organization get computers, I think financial donations are the easiest way because when I looked at the option of sending used computers to you, as you know, found out that Canada Post will not send them because of the lithium batteries in them, unless I were to send by courier like FedEx or Purelator, but that's very expensive, hundreds of dollars to ship. So just for anyone who's wondering, unfortunately, you might not be able to ship a computer unless you pay a lot of money. So directly donating to your organization so that you can buy a computer there probably makes the most sense. Would you agree?
Yeah, yeah, I
Mm.
am agree with that. It will be better for the students to learn. They are very curious to know how to use computers.
Mm. Can you talk more about your motivations? What kinds of feedback do you get from students when you are able to help them or just when you are teaching them? Like, what role do you think you play with these kids? Like, to many of them, do you think you are sort of a father figure to many, especially if they don't have a father at home?
Yeah, yeah, exactly. For some of them, they are very happy. They thank you so much for what I'm doing for them. They tell me that, teacher, sir, you are doing something good for us. You help us. So may God bless you so much. Something like that. Because some of them, they've got their own ambition. They want to become teachers, the doctors, the lawyers, something like that one. So they are very happy because they get school needs through Rising Hope Organization. And they really appreciate what I'm doing.
And how does that feel when they tell you that?
Feel good because when you help someone and then someone is just appreciating, so you must feel good. You must feel happy that, wow, I'm doing something good for the society. I'm doing something good for the people. So you must be very happy.
Are there ever times when you wonder if you should have done something else, or do you always feel like it was your purpose to be a teacher?
It was my purpose because I had a dream to become a teacher. Everyone, he or she has got his own purpose. So we are born for the specific purpose. We have to fulfill our purpose in this planet.
Mm. In the past, I've certainly had jobs where I didn't feel much sense of purpose. I was just doing it because I needed to make money, I needed to support myself and now my family. And I think there are many people in that position of doing jobs that are just what's necessary to pay the bills. So, what advice would you have for someone who maybe doesn't feel that sense of purpose in their work?
There must be certain of purpose in their work because once you do something, so you should do something for the certain purpose. You do something for the society, you do something for the community, you do something for your family. That is a certain purpose. When you do something, you should know that there is a certain purpose. That's why I'm doing this. So, for example, a teacher, we are teaching because our purpose is just to teach these children so that they can get more knowledge through
Mm,
teachers. That's why we are teaching. So that is a certain purpose that we must feel the purpose because we are teachers. We as the teachers, our purpose is just to teach this young generation so that they can have knowledge, so that they can understand. So everyone, he must have his own purpose in the community, in the society, as well as in the family.
hmm
For example, as a father, say, as a father, he must feed his own family. That is a certain purpose. If you don't work, you cannot feed your family. So you must work so that you can feed your family. So your family can get each and everything. So as a responsible father, so you should have a certain purpose for your family, not only for your family, but also for the community around you, as well as the society. So purpose is very, very important.
Mm. And as I mentioned earlier to the listeners, you and I met online a few months ago. You had reached out to someone, Dave Murphy, who I had published his children's book, and you had reached out to him. And when I learned about your organization and your school, I wanted to donate more books that I've published and written myself, and I sent them to you. And since then, I've done some fundraising for you. Very happy to do that. Also, a couple of months ago in January, started a campaign to support you called Books for Hope, where we want to encourage other children's authors to send books to you. Tell me why that's important to the students and how they reacted, because I know I'm only one of several authors who've sent you books. How do the students react when they receive books from far away that they can then enjoy and read?
First of all, I would like to thank you for your great help to my children because we have got big contributions in Rising Hope Organization. As they've said, you sent your books to my students. The students are very happy to receive the books because the books will help them to improve their reading skills. And the book will help them to improve the English language. We've done something good for the students. They really appreciate you. We must continue with these books for hope because books for hope help the children to get books so that they can read, not only to read, but also to know English language is a good campaign.
I'm very happy to be part of it, to have started it on your behalf and to be promoting it. Again, just to explain briefly what it is, the idea is to encourage children's authors, primarily in Canada and the US, but anywhere in the world, to encourage children's authors to send a few copies. We recommend 5 copies to ship them to Rising Hope. And the address is on their website, risinghopetanzania.org. And there's also a Facebook page for Rising Hope and for Books for Hope that you can follow. And in exchange, the children's author will receive photos from Rising Hope of the students holding their books, as well as a personalized thank you video where a student will thank the author for sending the books. And then the author is free to share those photos and that video on their social media. So the author gets some promotion. And of course, Rising Hope and the students get the benefit of their books. So it's really a win-win. And already a couple of American authors, Vincent Taylor from Florida, an award-winning educator, has sent his books. Juanita Gandera, a children's author in Florida, has sent her books, and I've sent some books as well as several other Canadian authors that I work with. So yeah, it's a wonderful campaign that I hope more authors will take advantage of and benefit your organization and your students, Bakari.
That is a good campaign. I welcome the author of children books to bring their books to the children so that they can read. So we need more authors who can bring their books to the children. And I thank you for this campaign, Mr. Dan Kostka, for this campaign of Books for Hope.
It's my honor to help out in a small way and to do whatever I can. And really, I think your story is going to inspire a lot of other people because you are a perfect example of someone who is acting with a sense of purpose and serving others. And through you, you're giving me a sense of purpose as well. You're allowing me to act in a way that gives me a sense of purpose. And I think you can do that for a lot of other people. By your example, will inspire others, and you will give them the opportunity to do something very meaningful and to give them that sense of purpose in their own lives. So I think you deserve a huge amount of credit for what you do, Bakari.
Thank you very much, Mr. Dan Kostika. You have been doing something good for Rising Hope Organization. I thank you so much.
Well, thank you for your time. It's wonderful speaking to you. Again, you're in Musoma, Tanzania. I'm here in Calgary, Canada. It's wonderful that technology allows us to connect in this way and to share your story with other people that I hope and I know will inspire them as well. So thank you for your time, Bakari.
Thank you so much, Mr. Dan, for your time. May God bless you so much.